Welcome to New Vision for Life with Sherwood K. This video is going to be about I married a Filipina. What next? A lot of people always seem to think that a Filipina is going to always ask for money, and maybe not for herself, but for her family. I'm not naive to think that, that's not going to happen within limits. If a person's sick, say, hey, you mind giving a couple of pesos to help my sister or my brother or something, and that's to be expected in any family. Everyone is a family, so they need to stick together and help each other. So that part's understandable. I've dated my wife for 4 years. We've been married for a year, and she's never asked me for any money. She's actually pretty shy when it comes to asking about money. I have to pry it out of her to see if she needs something. With that being said, when we first started to date, they have a thing called data. From the American point of view, we have Wi-Fi, internet, and all that stuff. So we have pretty good connections, unless you live out in the country or areas that are kind of far out and you don't get good signal. I actually get good signal pretty much. I'm a truck driver. And I do experience it sometimes when you're out in the boonies or something. But data is something that's totally different. We have that on our phones, but it's different. When we first started to talk, we used a dating site. And then we got off the dating site and we went to video calling. I don't know if you remember like dial-up back in the early the early 2000s when dial-up came out. And you hear that, and it take a while, especially if you downloaded something. Well, that's data in the Philippines. We would have a blurry phone conversation to where I'm like, what'd you say? What'd you say? And then it just dropped. So I told her, I said, I'm not satisfied with that. So I'm going to pay for real Wi-Fi. And they have fiber Wi-Fi there. So it was actually better than what I have here in America. Shocking. That was on me. She kept saying no. She preferred to use data because it was cheaper. I want to say it's like 1,700 pesos. So 1,700 pesos. So I think it's about $32, $34, give or take. And I said, that's a drop in the bucket for peace of mind to see and hear and understand. Every time we want to make a call, a conversation, I can see her, I can hear her clearly, and there's no misunderstanding on communication. My mother passed away when we were dating, and I said, well, it was on me. I said, is there anything I can do to help? And she said, well, I don't remember the exact amount of money that they needed to bury her mother, but I said, well, I gave her some money, and the family thanked me, so it wasn't like they say, you got that foreigner, you need to get some money from him. No, these are very good people, hardworking, and they rather join together and work together to get what they need. So when a lot of people say, oh, you got to provide for the family. Now, my wife is from a different region, so I don't know about all the other regions. So that could be part of it also. It depends on where she's from. So I'm not going to say that you won't have that happen, but my personal experience, I haven't had that happen. The necessities in life. I retired my wife. My wife was a seamstress. But if you look at what all is involved in that, 8, 10, 12 hours a day working, and I believe in working. I believe a person should work. But the type of work she was doing, they would get the cloth or material from a different country. I'm not going to say what country. And that stuff had chemicals in it. And they would cut it up and make it into certain designs and things. And I told her that's not healthy. She has sensitive skin, so she got blisters and different little things that would happen. And the breathing part wasn't good. And then I could see the dirt and stuff that came out of it, and it was in our house. And I said, I said, how much money do you make doing that? And she said, oh, you got to work very hard. And I said, yeah, I understand that. How much money do you make doing that? I make enough to pay my bills and to buy groceries. I said, okay. I don't want you to do that anymore. And she's looking at me like, what? I said, yeah. I don't want you to do that anymore. So then she said, well, how am I going to make it? And I said, I got you. And she's like, no. I said, okay. So then I said, all right, whatever you say. So then I said, the next time we talk, which is the very next day, I said, all right, you ready to retire? And then she says, well, I thought about it, but I don't want to take your money. So that's why I say, my experience, and I'm going to base it off my own personal experience, has been a positive one. A lot of times it depends on who you pick and different circumstances in life. My wife is older. She's not a young person in the early 20s or something. We're close in age, so that has something to do with the two life experiences. If a person is young and hasn't really experienced life, then they have a different attitude towards money, relationships, and a lot of things. So, I'm blessed. And many ways, in many ways, I'm blessed, but I'm blessed in knowing that I have a partner. When I got sick, I was over there. I'm real sensitive to temperature. So I don't mind being hot. I don't like being super hot, but I can take it. I just don't like being real cold. That's back in the day, I was in the freezer, so I'm temperature sensitive. So anyway, it's probably the third night there in the Philippines for the first time. The air conditioner on in the hotel, it never clicked off. It stayed on the whole time. So when I woke up that next morning, everything was just off. So she went in the restroom, got the towels and washcloths and wiped that everything off. I gave her some money. She walked to the store, got me medicine. She took care of me all that day. And then she got that Vicks, made me sweat it out. Got me that cold and flu medicine, made me take that. And we wasn't married. This is the first time I ever meet this woman, And she took care of me. She said, no, that's my job to make sure that you're good. I don't want your mother and your family upset with me because I'm responsible for you while you're here with me. So that's one thing that I haven't forgotten. I still remember. And I looked in her eyes when she told me that. I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got the right woman. Back on topic, I met all the family except for one. And none of them have ever asked me for anything. They warmly greeted me, invited me in. She has some friends that are good people. All of them are good people that I met. But the friends, instead of me giving them things, they always give me gifts. I'm like, wow, it's supposed to be the other way around. I'm the foreigner, Mr. Big Money, But so that's why I say you can meet genuinely good people. And that's what I've run across in her province. You have a lot of the kids, which I like kids. And at first, I think it was two of them, their sisters. The younger sister, she was terrified of seeing me because I am a big black person. I don't think it was the color because a lot of Filipinos are brown. I think because I'm big, and she was like, oh my goodness, And I guess she thought I was like a Bigfoot or something, I think it's what she thought I was because she was like, just start crying. When she saw I wasn't going to be mean to her or anything, she was actually pretty good, and like a couple of the other kids there, they were amazed to see because a lot of them, that's the first time I ever seen a foreigner in person. Because I was in the province, not in the city, in the province, And when we went to get fresh fruits and vegetables in the little neighborhood market, I felt like Michael Jordan. Not that I'm an athlete or anything like that, but he can't go anywhere without people staring. And that was like, I'm like, man, I'm looking around, and as I'm walking, people looking at me, and then they look away, look back, look away, look back. Being from America, I'm thinking, okay, I'm ready. Got my head on a swivel. I'm looking around, trying to see if I can find anybody trying to do something, plotting against me. I said, well, man, I had to think about it. I said, man, these people are seeing a foreigner in their area for the first time. I asked my wife. She said, yeah. She said there's one other foreigner, but he's a white guy, so they never seen a black foreigner in their area. And I was like, man, okay. So it was nice. Kind of weird, but it was nice to feel like Michael Jordan for that. One little bit of time now, when we go into the hotels and stuff. Man, I've had nothing but good experiences with the people at the hotels there. Even if you don't tip, it's a good thing to tip. But even if you don't tip, the people still treat you nice. I don't know, I'm back off topic again, but these are certain things that I want to stress. The poverty there is pretty bad. It's not everywhere, but you will see it. Like we were leaving from the hotel, and it was obvious the guy was homeless. I don't know if he spoke English or not. All he did was look at me or looked at him. He reached his hand out, and I could see he slept outside on the sidewalk. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know if I'm going to give him some money or not, because they tell you don't give money. And if you do, it's going to be 2 or 3 other people come out from out of nowhere. So I'm thinking, this is early in the morning because we're going to catch our flight. I look around, and I say, no, sorry. So he goes back over and sits down. And then I'm thinking, I said, well, nobody else came out of the shadows. So he came back up again. And I said, well, okay. He's persistent. I gave him 2 pesos. I don't remember the exact amount. And it's not that I tell you that story to make myself seem like I'm big or bad or anything like that. Just to let you know, sometimes you have to have compassion. I know they say don't do it, but when you can obviously see that person slept there overnight, he may not get something to eat later on that day. A little bit of money is not going to hurt you. That's why I say it that way. Now back to the part about them needing support and all that. With me and my family, I haven't experienced that. Like, I'll take them out to eat, and I say, order whatever you want. When I first met my wife, the first day we met, the hotel we stayed at had a all-you-can-eat buffet. And I didn't realize that the buffet was expensive because it was seafood night. And so my wife got a bowl of soup and a Coke Zero. Her eldest sister, I think she got a bowl of soup or a bowl of noodles, a Coke Zero, and a glass of ice water. I got the noodles. I didn't get the all-you-can-eat buffet. The 2, I told them go back and get whatever you want. They had salad, fruits, and everything. Oh no, this is fine. They didn't want to spend my money, but they ended up spending my money because they got the buffet but didn't utilize it. They were trying to be cheap, save me money. And I've noticed that every time I go out, either with my wife or our family and friends, and I'll tell them, order what you like off the menu. Oh, everything's too expensive. Oh, no. So they look to see what the cheapest thing is on the menu. And I'm like, that part doesn't exist today. What you want? And then sometimes they'll still be like, I don't know. So I suggested, I said, hey, do you like fish? You like this kind of chicken? What about this steak right here? You like that? And they look at me like, huh? I'm not saying I'm rich or anything, but the places I go to, the prices aren't so bad. Like I think it was 5 of us, maybe 6. And we went to Kenny Rogers Roasters. I think it was 5 of us. Anyway, it was roughly about $30, and that's with desserts and everything. So as you see, I got more bang for my buck. Now, all the places like that in the Philippines, not all the places are like that in the Philippines, so I don't want you to think, oh man, I'm gonna really rack up. Nah, it's only certain places that are affordable. See what else I want to talk about. Yeah, I say it's probably pretty good. All right. You guys have a good day, good evening, or good morning. Much love. Peace.